Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 16, Part 2. Got it, he said as he left the room. The man made his way out of the hotel and back out into the busy nightlife of the city. Isaac pulled out the address Vinyl had written him. The man made his way through the busy streets until he came to a dark brick building with a long line out in front. The man got in line and tapped the stallion in front of him on the shoulder. "Hey, is Vinyl playing tonight?" The stallion turned around to reveal his light blue coat and white mane. "Shit, yeah, man. That mare has the finest piece of ass I've ever seen," he said with a smile. Isaac gave him an uneasy nod and waited until he stood in front of the bouncer. He was a tall, red earth pony stallion with a jet black mane. He was holding a clipboard and had a serious look on his face. "Name?" "Isaac," the man said. The stallion looked at the clipboard and stared back at the man. "You're not on the list," he said as he crossed his arms. "But Vinyl is." "You're not on the list," the stallion said as he cracked his knuckles. Isaac now noticed two other stallions, each holding a bat in their hands. Isaac put his hands up and slowly backed away from the bouncer, who returned to his checklist. Isaac started to walk away when a familiar white unicorn mare came to the doorway and waved him over. "Hey, you made it," she said with a smile. "Yeah, I'm just having some trouble getting in," he said with a shrug. Vinyl nodded and walked past him towards the door. As she walked by, Isaac noticed that she was wearing a skin-tight black shirt that ended just below her chest, and a pair of skin-tight black jeans. Her sunglasses rested right above her horn. Isaac followed her up to the entrance and stopped when he saw the bouncer grunt at him. "It's cool, guys. He's with me," Vinyl said with a smile. The mare grabbed the man's arm and led him inside. The guards looked at one another in amazement. As Isaac stepped inside, he could feel the electric music beating relentlessly against his eardrums. The interior was only lit by neon lights on the walls, the strobe lights, and the lasers that were in tune with the music. Isaac looked across the room and saw several Pegasi and unicorn mares in giant bird cages dancing in very exotic lingerie. Each cage was equipped with a pole running vertically from top to bottom. Isaac felt his face flare up as the dancers started doing very flexible dance moves. "So, look pretty cool, huh?" Vinyl said with a smile. "Yeah, looks very interesting," he said with a gulp. "Go enjoy yourself. I gotta get on stage," she said as she started to make her way through the crowd. Isaac shrugged and pulled his hood up over his head and headed over to the bar. The music was causing the man's drink to ripple in his glass. The lights started to dim and everyone's attention turned towards the stage. A small layer of smoke covered the area as the white mare appeared behind the turntable. "Everybody ready?" she yelled. The crowd cheered in response. Isaac clasped his hands over his ears in a futile attempt to drown out the sound. "I'm about to drop the bass." She hit a switch and the speakers flared to life. The music and lights were in perfect sync. Isaac went to a nearby table and sat down. The man closed his eyes as he rested his head on his hand and started to drown out the music until he felt someone knock the table. His arm slipped and he felt his head bash against the table. Isaac looked up to see Vinyl with a smile on her face. "Oops, sorry dude," she said in an apologetic tone. "It's fine. What's up?" he asked as he sat up. "Do you want to dance?" she asked with a small blush on her face. "I suck at it," he whined. "Come on, please," she said as she made a pouting face. "Damn you, Vinyl. Why do you use that look on me?" "Fine, but just..." He was cut off as the mare grabbed his arm and made her way through the crowd. As they reached near the turntables, the mare let go of the man's wrist and started to dance around him. Isaac just stuck with the 1-2 step. Vinyl giggled at the man's moves and turned her back to him. The mare then started to grind up on him. Isaac blushed as he felt the mare's ass connect with his groin. The man could feel her well-toned body lean against his. Isaac went with the flow and put his hands on Vinyl's hips. The man felt the unicorn's tail wrap around his waist, holding him against her. Vinyl started to pant as the music flared and her body started to move in a steady rhythm. Isaac matched it and started to move his hips and synchronize with her rhythm. The man felt himself stiffening as the mare continued to grind against him. Vinyl took the man's hand and moved it up to her right breast. "Vinyl, what are you..." He was cut off as the mare let out a moan. Vinyl quickly spun around and pressed her lips against his. Isaac froze at the mare's action. Instinct took over and he returned the gesture. Vinyl broke the kiss and looked back at the man as she started panting. "Hold on tight." Her horn flared and a white light enveloped the two. Isaac opened his eyes to see a hotel room with a single bed. Vinyl smirked and gently pushed him down onto the bed. Vinyl slowly removed her top and caused her ample white breasts to bounce. "Like what you see?" she asked in a seductive tone. "Very much so," he said with a smile, As he removed his shirt, Vinyl's horn glowed and Isaac felt his trousers starting to slide off his legs. The mare jumped on him, kissing him passionately. "Ready for a ride?" Vinyl said as she sat up. The mare positioned herself over the man's now fully erect member and dropped down, taking his full length within her folds. "By Celestia," she breathed out. The mare then started to slide up and down the shaft, lubricating it. Isaac thrust it upwards, causing the mare to scream in pleasure. Isaac reached around and grabbed the mare's ass and gave it a hard squeeze. Vinyl smirked at him and slid herself off of the man and turned around. Isaac was then face to face with the white mare's dripping slit. Vinyl lowered her head and licked the length of the man's shaft, which made his eyes roll back in his head. "Oh fuck, Vinyl." The mare wrapped her lips around his shaft and started to bob her head up and down. Isaac leaned forward and ran his tongue over her moist slit. The motion sent a shiver down the mare's spine. The mare's tongue wrapped itself around the man's shaft, and she started to suck on the man's phallus. The mare increased the rhythm and felt the man's shaft touch the back of her throat. Isaac used his hands to apply some pressure to the cutie mark on her thigh. Vinyl let out a moan of pleasure at the motion. "Vinyl, if you keep doing that, then I'm going to..." The mare stopped and positioned herself back over the man's phallus. The mare readjusted herself so that her slit was above his phallus. The mare plunged the man's rod into her once more and slid up and down until she felt a familiar pressure build in her loins. "Isaac, I'm going to..." "Me too." As the words left his lips, he felt the pressure that was building in his shaft release. Vinyl arched her back and felt the fluid enter her system. The mare collapsed on the man's chest and was panting heavily. "That was awesome," she panted. "AJ and Dash weren't kidding when they said you were good." "Thanks. You're not so bad yourself." The mare let out a yawn and rested her head on his chest. The mare started to snore loudly. As she adjusted her head, Isaac felt the day's activities beginning to take their toll, and he set his head back against the pillow. The man woke up hours later. He looked at the clock and saw that it was close to 2 in the morning. Isaac carefully got up and made sure not to disturb the sleeping mare. The human got to his feet and threw his pants back on. Isaac got to his feet and looked out the window. Against the rain and bolts of lightning that were raining from the sky, Isaac saw something that caught his eye. His eyes shrank when he saw a familiar white-hooded figure that was staring at him from the adjacent building. The man quickly threw his shirt and other pieces of clothing onto his body, including his blue hooded sweatshirt, and climbed out of the window onto the fire escape. The man felt the gusting winds and the torrential rain hit the skin on his face as he ascended the fire escape. Isaac looked up and saw the white-hooded figure looking down at him. The man gave chase across the rooftops, the crashing bolts of lightning striking nearby houses, and power lines creating sparks. The target was running out of roof and stopped as it reached the end of the building. "Nowhere left to run now, pal," Isaac said as he caught his breath. "Who's running?" the voice said in a cocky tone. The hooded figure cracked its knuckles and took a fighting stance. Isaac took a stance, and the two started to move in a circular pattern. A bolt of lightning struck between the two, signaling the fight to begin. Isaac threw the first punch, only for it to be blocked by the hooded figure. The stranger then took the human's arm and flipped him onto his back. Isaac felt his bones crack from the force and coughed up blood. "This guy's stronger than me?" he thought as the hooded stranger crouched down next to him. "You'd better get back in shape, kid. Otherwise, we're all screwed," the figure said with a small laugh. "Who the fuck are you, anyway?" Isaac asked. "I'm just something you helped make." The figure raised both his arms and smiled. As he brought his hands down, a massive bolt of lightning came down from the dark sky and struck the man square in the chest. Isaac felt the searing pain course through his body. As the bolt ended, Isaac could feel his skin burning and the residual electricity flow through his body. "That should be enough to get you started," the figure said as it started to walk away. "Looks like my time is up," he said as Isaac looked over. He saw that the figure was starting to disintegrate and was soon taken by the storm. Isaac slowly got to his feet. The man staggered towards where the figure once stood. Isaac felt the rain against his skin and slowly made his way back to his and Rarity's hotel room. The man made a quick stop at Vinyl's hotel and left a small note on the coffee table before venturing back out into the night. Isaac looked out the window at the passing landscapes. The train ride back was taking longer than it should have due to some ticket forgeries. The mare rolled her eyes and continued to tap her thumbs together as she looked at the man. "What?" he asked. "Just worried," she said as she sipped her glass of water. "About? You. Why?" "You headbutted a prince," she said in a flat tone. "I'm not saying it wasn't fun to watch, but there are bound to be repercussions. How much influence does Blue Blood have, anyway?" "Is he involved with politics at all?" he asked as he crossed his arms. "No, he just parades around Kent a lot, with his nose stuck in the air," she said with a scoff. "So, I see no problem. I'm sure that if something did come up, then I'd just explain it to Celestia and Luna. They're reasonable. I'm sure they'd understand," he said as he sat back. "How's your cheek?" the man asked as he looked at the mare's purple swollen cheek. "It's fine. Still hurts a little, but I'll manage." The mare's horn glowed, and the injury was covered up by an illusion. "See, good as new," she said as the train came to a halt. The two got to their feet and walked out of the train car and onto the Ponyville platform. Isaac's eyes shrank as he saw Princess Celestia with 3 white unicorn guards, accompanied by the other 5 mares. "Ah, Isaac, just who I wanted to see," Celestia said in a stagnant tone. "Aw, fuck me," Isaac said with a gulp as the 3 ponies drew their swords. "Meet me in the library. We have something to discuss," she said as she vanished in a flash of light.